this is requesting
Clayton County landlord,
court date, right?
It is.
Laverne DeLoach, is fed up.
We've gotten no answers. We've made phone calls to every person that we can think of, every number that we've been given. We've just dead-ended.
DeLoach says her tenant stopped paying rent in October. She filed for an eviction in December. 6 months later, she was still waiting for her day in court.
I think maybe Clayton County needs to reevaluate their systems or their processes, and I think they need to be restructured, and I think there should be some accountability.
Clayton County's chief magistrate court judge admits that there is a backlog, due in large part to COVID, but says the county has hired more judges and added more eviction calendars to eliminate the caseload.
It is devastating financially. It is very frustrating.
Over in DeKalb County, landlord Vladimir Yampolsky also filed for an eviction in December. 7 months later, his tenant is still living in his home.
And they're sitting there, not paying rent. They don't have any incentive to move because they know it may go forever.
Both Yampolsky and DeLoach are not corporate landlords. Yampolsky is a retired music teacher, and DeLoach is a former healthcare provider. Both invested in real estate to save for retirement. And now, they're worried about foreclosure.
We're borrowing money to pay for mortgage. We're in the red. We're about to lose our house.
I'm not here to make a lot of money. I just want to make a living.
Atlanta News First Investigates reached out to every magistrate court in the metro, and we uncovered eviction court backlogs in Clayton, DeKalb, and Fulton counties. And the delays do not end in the courtroom. Once a ruling is issued, all evictions in Georgia must be supervised by a marshal or sheriff's deputy. And we found some of those agencies are also playing catch-up. Today, there are 2,600 cases in the Fulton County Marshal's Department just waiting to be completed.
It took about 18 months to get through that entire process. So we waited basically for a year to get to court, and then we waited an additional 6 months after that for the actual sheriff's eviction.
You heard right. 18 months from the day property manager Todd Orchide filed an eviction to the day the tenant was evicted from this Fulton County townhome. In your time in this industry, have you ever seen anything like this?
Oh, no. Atlanta's always been relatively smooth for these sorts of things. Cases used to be processed in 4 to 6 weeks.
It's gotten so bad that Orchide is now encouraging investors to buy elsewhere.
They're looking for a place where their risk is low. And if they're looking at that, they're going to say, well, I have a much better opportunity in these outlying counties than I do in Fulton and DeKalb in these areas because my risk is just higher in those counties.
And the ripple effect has already begun. Orchide says most Metro Atlanta landlords are either raising rent or security deposits to compensate for the additional risk.
Ultimately, who really suffers is the 99% of tenants who are good tenants. It's creating an even greater affordable housing crisis.
And then we have a mess in here.
As for Laverne DeLoach, 2 weeks after we got involved,
It makes no sense.
her tenants moved out.
We've noticed that there's bullet holes in the screened-in porch in the wood. So there's bullet casings on the floor.
But she's still out $17,000 in unpaid rent. And after this experience,
We lost our money. We lost our investment.
she says she's getting out of the rental business.
I mean, we have no choice. At this point, we have to sell and cut our losses.
Good morning. Today is Thursday, July 27th. The year is 2023. It's about 10:30 in the morning. It's a little short video. Interesting video about these home investors who have purchased homes to rent them out and having a tough time after evicting tenants in there who haven't paid any rent. I thought this was a interesting article, news report, and a good one. Too many investors have purchased homes in the past few years in hopes of renting them out for a profit. And they've pushed these rents sky high all over the United States. And unfortunately, this has kept people who are homeowners, people who want to be homeowners, from purchasing homes in certain neighborhoods because so many investors have purchased these homes and rented them out to horrible tenants who have destroyed these neighborhoods. Particularly, I thought that was interesting, Clayton County has such a large percentage of renters down there. I think it's great that these people are now the eviction process is taking so long now. A lot of these investors who own these homes, whether corporations or mom and pop, are realizing that because of the amount of time that it's taking to get an eviction in these areas, that they decided to sell these houses and allow a homeowner to purchase these homes, hopefully at affordable price. A lot of these houses need to foreclose that these investors overpaid for. It would be great to see homeowners buy these homes and turn some of these horrible neighborhoods around with people living in the houses, who own the houses, who want to take care of it, versus a renter in there shooting bullets through the screen at the back of the house. I've never understood why people went out and bought these houses in the past decade or so. When they were cheap, yeah, but when they started getting expensive, I was a little confused why so many people would buy these houses in on assumption that they're going to make a profit. You pay $150,000 to $200,000+ for a house. Maybe you have to fix up and rent it. The business model doesn't make sense. I mean, you're pushing, and here's the deal, they keep pushing these rents up higher and higher because it's inevitable that people cannot afford to pay these rents. And so they default and they can't pay it. And so then it takes forever to get these people out of there. And y'all, there are evictions taking place all over the city of Atlanta in various neighborhoods because people cannot afford to pay these high-ass rents. It's just ridiculous. These rents are just the last place I had, I was paying $19.50. Well, they're charging close to $2,800 a month for that damn place now. It's ridiculous. And I moved out of there in March of 2022. I mean, it just didn't make any sense. These rents have now escalated so high that people they move in, and if anything happens, they can't afford it. They don't have any savings. The rents have gotten so ridiculous that it just doesn't make sense to even pay this type of rent in Atlanta because it's so unaffordable. And one of the reasons why is you got all these investors who purchase these homes and whatever and renting them out for trying to make a profit on these high-ass mortgage payments they got. It's not working out. And you have all these people who went out and bought all these houses and then Airbnb them. That whole business model has now collapsed. The Airbnb business, everybody knows. I'm thinking $10,000 a month doing Airbnb. Now they're trying to sell all them damn houses. I've never understood why, y'all. I was very confused about this. I was very confused about the amount of people who purchased all these homes and Airbnb them all over Atlanta. This Atlanta is not Miami. It is not a beachfront community. It is not a vacation town. Who was renting these Airbnbs? I'm still confused by this mess. So now all these people who have these Airbnbs are trying to run from them because they're not making the profits that they were making. But I never understood who would want to Airbnb a home in Lithonia any damn way. I didn't get that. I can see if you had a small apartment or in-law suite in your home, you want to Airbnb it for additional money. But to go out and buy a house in DeKalb County and the sole intent of Airbnb in it didn't make sense to me. And thousands of people did this mess. Now they got these houses up for sale. So we'll see how this plays, we shall see how this plays out over the next few months. I mean, next year or two with these homes. A lot of these people need to lose these houses. These investors, I remember that old lady told me, the investors then came here and ruined the neighborhood. The investors. But she had a valid point because investors that came in and purchased up the stuff and if they don't, if you have a neighborhood of homes and the vast majority of homes are owned by people who are just investors who don't live in the neighborhood and don't care about the neighborhood, it can definitely bring the neighborhood down. I wouldn't want to live in a neighborhood where a vast majority of homes are owned by investment companies or investors, whether they're mom and pop, little small companies or big, because these renters don't give a fuck about these houses in these neighborhoods. They never have cared. You don't want to live in a neighborhood with a lot of renters in there because it's going to be a disastrous property. It's not going to end well. If you're looking at a home and you do your research to see, you can research it. How many homes are rented on the street? How many people are home owners? You go like a Jehovah's Witness from door to door. I'm buying this house up the street. Do you own or rent this damn house? Or do you cut your damn grass? Who's responsible for cleaning this shit up around here? Yeah, that'd be But it is good. Hopefully, a lot of these houses may foreclose because some people may not be able to sell them because they overpaid for this shit. Under the pretense that they're gonna make all this money to Airbnb and renting out these houses. How? You pay $200,000-$300,000 for this shit. It didn't make sense to me. It just didn't. I have friends who paid $400,000 and $500,000 for townhomes. We go Airbnb, and I'm thinking this ain't adding up. It ain't adding up. I'm like, how you gonna make a profit off this shit? I don't think this ain't adding up. It's too expensive. But I could be wrong. Who am I? So yeah, well, do what you want to do. But I think this is a positive news story because the cycle needs to come to an end of these investors buying up these homes and jacking these rents up. These rents have gone sky high nationwide. It just don't make no sense how much these rents are. But we'll see what happens. I love it. It's going to be a short video. The first video I made collapsed and burned. I don't know what happened to it. But I wanted to show you all that news report. I thought it was very interesting that these investors have bought these homes and they spent the past 18 months in some instances trying to evict tenants out who destroyed the place. But common sense should have told some of these people it wasn't adding up from the very beginning. The math just didn't work for me. When people were telling me what they were paying for these houses and planning on renting an Airbnb, and I was in total shock. Like, okay, this is not adding up. And sure is now we see how this is ending for a lot of people because they've paid so much for these homes, and as investment property, listen. I don't understand how you can pay $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 for a house in Atlanta and it's an investment property. I don't get the math. That doesn't add up to me. Who you gonna rent this shit to? And you done bought a brand new townhouse in hopes that the people they're gonna demolish this place. And the Airbnb don't give a fuck about them damn houses. And the math just ain't adding up. It's just not adding up. But anyway, I'm about to cook me some breakfast because make sure this video stuck. But I look forward to reading you all's comments. It's 10:30 in the morning, 10:36 to be exact. I'm out of here. Look forward to reading you all's thoughts and comments about this outrageous, these outrageous rents and these investors who then brought these investors then brought up all the neighborhood. Yeah, the investors then brought up all the neighborhood and destroyed these neighborhoods like Clayton County and parts of DeKalb County and Fulton County, particularly South Fulton County. It's like, I know how I feel about South Fulton County. I can keep that shit. In fact, it's funny because I was just talking to someone the past few days about a home they're trying to sell over in the South Fulton County area. And it's a good deal. And I was thinking, maybe I should buy this house. And after I thought about it, after I saw this report over here, I said, I ain't even bothered with that damn house. If it ain't in Miami or South Florida, I don't want it. Now, if y'all know somebody in South Florida who has something for sale that I could buy for a reasonably priced, good price, I'll buy that shit. But South Fulton, nah, I'll pass. I can't do nothing with this shit. Sit there and suffer. Fuck that shit. Today is Thursday, July 27th, the year 2023. Again, if you know anybody in South Florida who has anything for sale that I might be interested in buying, let me know. And I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful Thursday.